I'm Robin Crane, and this is the Growing Your Financial Business the Woman's Way podcast. Listen, I was a financial advisor for over a decade, and I got so sick of the old archaic strategies that your grandpa used to get clients. What the industry teaches today is still so outdated and just doesn't work anymore. So I had to find a better way for myself, and then I got obsessed with sharing these how-tos with other women like me. The stuff I teach doesn't require giving up your life, your sanity, or your family time. I want women like you to have it easier than I had it, so you can thrive in the industry. I've now helped thousands of women grow their financial businesses to multiple six figures, some even seven figures per year. So on this podcast, you're going to get an inside look at how they did it so you can do it too. Let's dive into the show. Welcome. It's Robin Crane, and I am here with Irene Nakamura. How did I do on that?
You did great. Thank
Nakamura.
you.
That sounds like, it reminds me of like Raya and the Last Dragon. Like it feels like Nakamura. But I think it's because the one that like deceives her, isn't that the name is like similar to that? I don't know. I watch a lot of animated films because I have young children. Anyway, I'm here with Irene and I'm excited to talk about this because what we want to get into really is kind of how to calm and become calm and protect your calm in stressful situations, particularly when discrimination is at play. And I know being part of this, kind of involved in this male-dominated industry, there's a lot of that going on. And there's a lot of just in the environment of the world where we are today, depending on when this podcast comes out, we're recording this right after the collapse of three banks. And who knows what's going to happen by the time this podcast comes out, but it's just crazy. So I definitely need help with all the stress and to be more calm in this storm. So tell us, instead of me telling about their background, you tell them a little bit about your background. I know you're an award-winning author, women minority-owned court reporting and litigation support in Washington, California, and Hawaii. If you want to add another thing about you, because just add one more awesomeness about you.
Well, I'm also a speaker, and I'm putting together a upcoming speech, a new signature speech, and it talks about being calm, and it talks about I will be talking about going for your dreams and who you surround yourself with.
Awesome. So let's jump into that then. We'll get you prepared for your speech. This is your prep work here. But just to give you a little background about me, because I just like to be transparent. Like I'm going through this kind of crazy place in my business where we're at this path, like this crossroads of where we want to go and where we want to put attention. And mostly because, to be again, transparent, is like our Facebook ads aren't working in the way that they have been. And so I've been just kind of in this place of stress and just really trying to breathe through it and deal with this stuff, but don't want to disappoint people. We had to lay off a couple people recently, which never feels good. So just, I guess, walk me through. I'll be the patient here, the one on the couch, but I know I'm not the only one going through having stress. And I think just as a financial professional in general, there's just a lot of stress that comes with it because, when there are bank crises and things like this and all this stuff, it's like, it's hard to not be affected by how other people are affected. So start with me there, and then we'll just keep digging in.
Well, first of all, as women, we tend to confide in people, right? And it's very important who you confide in. You don't want to confide in that person that is always putting you down or making you second guess yourself or putting in doubt, because you're already feeling this stress. You're already wondering, did I make the right decision in my business? Am I going in the right direction? I have 4 different roads I can take. Which one should I take? And running those ideas and your thoughts about which decision you're leaning towards. Who you speak with is really, really important. You need someone who's actually going to think about how they can really support you and give you constructive criticism instead of just straight out, you suck type criticism, that self-doubt that we all have. We don't want that person to exacerbate that feeling of self-doubt.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, are you just selective with who you decide to confide in? Are you looking for specific characteristics? Or are you just looking for someone to be a yes person and just make you feel better? Like, what what, I guess, where's the line between like, am I looking for constructive criticism? Am I looking just for support? Am I looking for new ideas, and how to actually solve the problem? Because I think that's also a clarity thing, right? Because it's like, we tend to, I know my husband and I, like, he knows to ask this because so often we have different expectations about the conversation we're getting in. And so he says, how do you want me to help you? Do you just want me to listen and support you? Do you want me to help you solve the problem? And I'm like, just support me, because like he tries to solve it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I just want to kind of feel sorry for myself right now and get a little bit of attention. And then like, I'll be in a place of solution and then I can get your advice. So right now, like, no, just support me. So is that part of the process, or is it really about the person that you're going to talk to?
It's both, right? It's both. So you kind of need to know where you're at as well, and if you have a really great confidant that you can confide in, they will usually know when you just to give them time to vent. If you're the one that someone is coming to and they want to talk to you about it, you kind of can figure out, this person just wants to just vent. They don't want any solutions at this time. They're just like frustrated and they just, want to get it out. And then once that calm is over, once you get to that calm, because you need that outlet, right? Yeah.
So yeah, well, I guess that's the question. So do you need that outlet, and how much of that outlet? Because some people just like to complain, or they like to talk, or they like to talk about their problems. And so I've had this challenge where, I've gone through a lot of personal development. I've done Tony Robbins events. Like, I know you can change your state in a heartbeat like this, right? And then, so what I realized, because I now have a different coach. So I started working with this prosperity coach. And what she noticed is that I continually make myself wrong. And so part of it is like, because I've been taught with personal development, personal growth to change my state in a heartbeat and to focus on what's working and be positive and all that I have the tendency to, when I'm not, like, beat myself up when I'm not doing that. Like, come on, Robin, like, change your state, and then I make myself wrong. And what she helped me do was actually recognize the feeling and be like, oh, wow, I'm anxious now. It's okay. How long do I want to feel this? Right? Because otherwise, like, I'll run my pattern of just wanting to talk about it and vent all day long. So it's like, because it feels good. It's cathartic to talk about it. I used to be a songwriter. I used to write songs, but now it's just like, I'll just talk about it. So I guess, how do you draw the line with that of like, how much do you talk about it? To what degree do you talk about it? When does it become complaining and like, it's just not actually serving you? And so that you can get yourself in a better state without making yourself wrong.
I would suggest like 1-2 days, get it all out. If, whoever you need to talk to within that time period, and then start refocusing. You can feel like a victim for a moment or whatever you're going through. That's okay. We're all entitled to that. But now if you are a business owner or you are in the finance area and you want to grow your business or things like that, then, you have a little bit of time, but then let's move on. Okay.
So how do you do that? What do you do? What are some of your strategies to get out of that funk or out of that state and into the calm?
I just, I get to a place where I've let it all out. And now I can feel like, okay, what do I do now? Where can I fix this problem? What is the problem exactly? And I can start to refocus my attention on that, and I'm at a place where if you wallow too much in your pain, it's never going to go away, right? At some point, you need to take the medicine or work out or do something that helps you, combat your disease, whatever it is. I'm just talking medical right now. But, if you don't do something and you just sit there, like if you have a broken foot and you just cry about it all day long and not go to the doctor and get it fixed or something, nothing's ever going to change. It may even get worse, right? So as a financial person or person in business, give yourself an opportunity to let it out. But then with the understanding that, okay, now I got to give yourself some time. Like I'm going to give myself 24 hours or 48 hours or 5 hours.
3 tubs of ice cream. Only two
Yes.
tubs of ice cream. Then after
And then
that,
say,
second
you know
tub,
what, enough is enough. And I'm going to have to now focus on, okay, what's the problem and what can be the solutions?
can you give me an example of like something that's happened in your life or a problem or something where you kind of wanted to wallow in it, but you had to move on? And like, what did you do specifically to do that and to be less stressed and calm? Like, give us the specifics.
I think the biggest thing is probably something that hit everybody in the world, which was COVID, because, everything closed. And as a business owner, how do I keep my employees? How do I not lay them off during a crisis, a world crisis? Did I cry? Yes, absolutely. But at some, after that cry, I was like, okay, I need to pivot. I need to figure out a way to survive this pandemic. And that was a huge area.
Do? So did you lay people off or what did you do?
I ended up having to lay 2 people off. However, we came up with a new process utilizing Zoom, providing services through Zoom. We revamped a lot of the proceedings, and in the legal proceedings, it's absolutely brand new to be remote in a lot of levels. However, we had been doing it in the past already. So it was just a matter of providing training. And so we developed training for the attorneys and paralegals and whoever was interested in it, and the court reporters to help facilitate our, to continue our business. And so we were one of the first out of the gate, to provide moderators and technicians. And we just came up with these ideas, and we're still utilizing them today.
Yeah. And I think that's very common in the financial industry as well. It's like, I remember some of my early marketing was like, basically talking about how to market yourself without meeting face-to-face, or, how to get ideal clients without meeting face-to-face. There was a lot of the without meeting face-to-face or without having to, leave your home, because it was very unusual. And I definitely, interestingly enough, my clients were doing Zoom meetings and doing all this well before. I remember I had probably 4 years ago, this woman came to me, and she lives actually near me in Tampa. And she was saying, Robin, I'm driving to Orlando, which is 2 hours away, like 5 days a week to meet with clients. And she's like, I can't take it anymore. My health, the time, the stress, all these things. And her name's Melinda. And I said, Melinda, like, we got to just use this system. We got to use the system so that you don't have to drive that far. And if you want to drive once a week, which seems still crazy to me, or once a month, fine. But like, you can do that from the comforts of your own home in front of a computer or with a phone in your hand. And usually, like, I was doing Skype meetings, over a decade ago, back when everybody was using Skype. I know some people still do. I still do, but using it instead of Zoom. And I had clients, I was living in California. And then in 2010, I moved to New Jersey and kept the good clients and was having my meetings on Skype. I was going to say Zoom, but then I said Zoom, Skype. I don't know what I said. So I think that that gave me freedom, that gave me freedom very early on. And so I was always using like the systems within that. And then even recently I had this woman come to me, and she just sold her financial business and she's starting a new business, really amazing woman. And she wants my help. And she said, I need your one-on-one help because I need to figure out how to do this like succinctly from the time I basically prospect a client or promote myself to the time I close them in a different way, because I'm used to having the fancy office. People would come in, like there's already immediately credibility with these high net worth clients because of this, visual effect and this immediate credibility with the aesthetics. And so I said, well, it's just, to me, I'm like perplexed. I'm like, it's the same thing. Like, it's the same thing, but it's not if you're leaning on the, in-person experience in order to take someone to the next step. And so, she's really excited to get, even now after, post pandemic, if we can even say post, that she's like, to have a system where I'm like, it doesn't make any difference if we're meeting in person, which I don't really do anymore, unless it's events or on Zoom. So to me, they're like, it's been, I think for everyone, and most people would agree that that was one blessing that came out of a horrific, worldwide pandemic, that now we were forced to do business from home, do business in a way that online, on video, where it actually saves us a ton of time. So that's awesome. Well, tell me on a different note, I know you talk a lot about, minorities and women and kind of the challenges that you've faced because of being women. Share a little bit of that and also just kind of some strategies or how you've been able to deal with that might help the ladies listening.
Yeah, actually, I'm, being in the legal industry, even though I am not an attorney, the American Bar Association a few years ago put out a statistic about women attorneys in the field, and it was about 6% of all attorneys in the country are about women. And within that 6%, you put in the different races and ethnicities. Yeah, so it's even less. So you can imagine, and then as a court reporter breaking into that field and trying to get business from the old white boys club and, a lot of those communities where it's really, really tough to break into. And that was one thing that was really tough. And I still face that today, but I don't give up. So, I guess my message would be just keep going, and you're going to find the clients that embrace it. You're going to find the clients that want to work with you. So just because a client turns you down because, you're a woman or a minority, you don't fit into the boys club, that's okay. You just keep going.
Yeah, peace out next. Tell them. Yeah. That, and I think it's not so overt, it's like they said no, and we wonder, is it me? And we don't know all their, misconceptions or predetermined discrimination and all things. And then we assume it's something we maybe have done, but I definitely have women who have come to me and said, someone specifically said, I want to work with a man, or I want to, something like that. I'm like, wow, that's just insane. That's so like old school. Excuse me. But that definitely still happens. I know someone I was just talking to was interviewing for my book, and she said that she read the statistic recently that it's less than 1% of the managed money in the United States, I think it's the United States, are managed by women, which I thought was crazy. Wow. Because we have depending on the statistics you look at, somewhere between 17 and 23%, something like that, of women in the industry, which that means they're financial advisors. I mean, I guess it could be in the industry depending on, again, the different statistics, but maybe they're not financial advisors. But I think most of that, of that statistic specifically is financial advisors, but only getting less than 1% of the assets, which is insane, which means these women are probably working longer, probably working harder, probably doing more sometimes, but working with quote unquote smaller clients or clients who have less money because either maybe it's put on them, or possibly because they're not claiming what they're worth. And what I've found, with the women that we work with is that once you start giving them the tools of how to attract the right person and how to actually use messaging to compel their people to want to talk to you and work with you, and how we have a revenue accelerator system that I'm kind of going through. Once you have the right money making activities, and once you know how to capture ideal clients, like using a proper sales system that's not all salesy and fact findery, well, then you can get those high net worth clients, and they need you, and they need you even more because you're more nurturing and all the things. But I think what's happening is without the right systems that are aligned with women, we women, and I say we because I do the same thing sometimes, are selling ourselves short and not attracting those higher level clients who need us even more because we think we're not worth it, or we don't have the right systems, or we don't know how to do it, or someone shunned us or shamed us or shit on us. and we just don't have the confidence. So, I mean, I think it's nice to say, keep going and we can do it. And I think that's, motivational, but I think also what's missing in the industry, at least from my perspective, I know you're in a different industry, but I bet you it's the same, is the tools, or are the tools of how women can really grow their businesses in a way that's aligned with women. And it's not just women, I would say, minorities, and also, people who just don't fit into that old boys club, like you said, like the white old boys club. I remember one of the videos I watched early on when I became a financial advisor, this guy was holding his hands in the confident triangular stance as you're taught when you're like Obama or something. And he was saying how one of the core prospecting methods was to go go golfing with high net worth clients. And I was 29 years old at the time going, are you kidding me, dude? Like, I don't play golf. And even if I did, like, you think I'm going to hang out with 50 and 60-year-olds at 29 going like, here, let me try to golf it up with you, you know? And I do know this one woman who was in my program who was like a professional golfer. I'm like, okay, if that was me, maybe I'd impress them at 29 years old, but it wasn't, you know? So I had to use different ways. So any other ideas or just things that you have as far as like how to cope with this or what specifically to do, or, you know, how to get ahead as a woman or as a minority in these type of male dominated industries?
Perseverance and, you know, you might have just try a different approach. Don't always go at the same approach, because you might also want to, you know, learn a little bit more about your target client and see what is it that they have interest in. You know, I'm not a golfer. I've been told I need to take golfing lessons, as a matter of fact, you know, but I went to Top Golf once and it was fun, but, fun. You know, yeah, but, you know, I lost. You know, but there's other ways to get business, and you don't have to sit there and do those things, but you can find a commonality and provide that. Maybe they like the theater, maybe they like music. Find something else that you can do that you know that you can do with them, and then forge that relationship, because most business is done because of relationships. If you can get that good relationship, even though they may at first have shunned you because you're a woman or minority, but keep pursuing it and try different angles.
Awesome. I love it. Well, tell them where to find you and follow you and all the good things.
Okay. Well, on LinkedIn, it's Irene Nakamura. You can just find me on LinkedIn there. And my website is ideporeporters.com. And I hope to connect with you. My Instagram is Irene_Nakamura_author. And looking forward to connecting.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. And if you're listening and you haven't yet checked out our website, go to robincrane.com. We actually just redid it. It took me only 5 years. I'm not a perfectionist at all, I swear. But finally we got it done. And there's a lot of great tools there. You can watch a webinar, you can get a free script, the appointment generator script, you can get an ideal client capture sheet. So there's a lot of goodies there, and you can kind of get lost in there and have fun. And I mean, if you like growing your business, I think it's fun. And then if you haven't, gone through just the podcast list, I would highly recommend this. There's a good one that wasn't too long ago, How to Throw Your Own Referral Party with Mike Koenigs. I think everyone, who's been in the business a while knows that, they love referrals, but no one really likes to ask for referrals. So I think that episode, I don't know the number of it. Sorry. It came out January 25th, but How to Throw Your Own Referral Party. If you haven't seen that one yet, I'd check that out. And then one other one I wanted to the clients you want with Natalie Jill. That one came out on December 28th. So just use this stuff. This is really very motivating and will really help you to grow your financial business. And we want to support you in any way we can. So enjoy all the free stuff. And I can't wait to see you next time on the show. See you later. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.